So thank you so much for joining us, Rebecca Colby. You're from England, right?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
I live in North Yorkshire.
Yeah, and you have quite an interesting twin flame story, which basically a catalyst to your awakening. And what was your life like before this awakening occurred?
Um, I suppose I had an average life for a middle-aged woman. I'd had two children. I'd been married for 16 years, not happily married, granted, for the last 8 years or so. And I was struggling with the big questions and, hitting middle age, what's my purpose in life? What have I actually done and accomplished? And I had actually had a near-death experience as well in 2014.
Oh, wow.
I'd had a couple of blood clots, one in each lungs. And the doctors had told me that 50% of the people that come in with just one blood clot, the size of my smaller one, don't make it. And that I was very fortunate to be alive. So after this happened, I was really questioning, why was I still alive? And what did I want to do with the rest of my life? But I wasn't finding any answers. And I've had synchronicities for, about 6 years. In 2010, the end of the part of that year, I started seeing the number 44 everywhere. And I thought,
I saw that number too.
It's all in my head, this number 44. I know a lot of people see 1111, but for me it was 44 and occasionally triple fours.
Yeah.
And I thought, no, this can't be happening. It's not my biological clock just naturally looking at the regular clock and seeing 44. There's more to it than this. And I thought, well, maybe it's a message from the angels trying to tell me that everything's going to be all right, because I'd had these health problems before 2014, before I almost had this near-death experience. And I just thought it was reassurance, but that's all I knew, and it just kept going on. So that was life before the awakening. Do you want me to tell you how it happened?
What was the 44? What did that represent? Did you end up looking it up, or did something lead you to understand what that meant?
For me, the number 4 has always been a negative number. And I think this is because I lived in Taiwan briefly. And number 4, I believe, is death.
That's right.
So I saw 4 as double death. So I saw this initially as a negative thing. But then I thought, well, I keep seeing it everywhere. And I'm not sure what's going on in my life. And I've always had a very strong belief in God. I didn't have a lot of proof when I was younger, but I didn't need that proof. I had that faith. And then over time, I did start receiving proof and just confirmed my belief in the afterlife and this greater universal source that loves us. So then I thought, well, no, it can't be a bad thing. It must be a good thing. And then in 2016, October that year, I went on a writing retreat for screenwriting. The woman who ran it is very spiritual, and she always brings a spiritual teacher. So while I was very, very excited to meet the screenwriting mentors that had flown into Europe from Hollywood, I was equally excited to meet the spiritual teacher that was there. And so I went to all his meditation sessions that were optional, and there was just something about him. I didn't know what it was, but I figured I felt really connected to him because of his beliefs. And that he knew things that I wanted to know and experience, and he saw the light, held the light, and but I don't know what I did wrong. I made him angry all the time. Just seemed to trigger him constantly. I thought, why is he being unkind to me? What have I done?
Yeah.
6 months later, I went back to a second retreat, and I was again very excited to go and learn from these screenwriting mentors, but very apprehensive to meet the spiritual teacher. When I met him, it was completely turned around. He was so happy to see me and so nice. And I thought, oh, well, it must have just been something going on in his life. It wasn't me at all. And in the meditations that he had in the morning, on 2 occasions, he mentioned twin flames. I'd never heard of twin flames before. I had heard of soulmates. And many years ago, I believed, we all had an ultimate soulmate. But my marriage had gone on the rocks. And I thought, well, actually, no, I never did meet my soulmate. And I'm not sure they exist anymore. But I didn't think too much about this whole twin flame concept. But over the course of the week, I was getting flashes of light in my mind's eye. I was getting like SOS tinnitus in my ears. It kept ringing in my ears, and I couldn't understand why. But So anyway, he offered free healing sessions at this particular retreat, and I decided I was going to take him up a free healing session. And when I went into the session, he had some very pointed questions for me. And when I answered the questions, they seemed to confirm things for him. And his face would completely light up when I confirmed things. And one of the things that seemed to make him very happy was the fact that despite living in Britain, I was American by birth. Now, I realized why this was later, and I'll explain that in a couple minutes. But so we continued with this questioning. We were going to try to heal my inner child. And at the very end of the healing, he asked me, what do you want more than anything in life? And I said, well, I'd like to know God better. I want to, understand this universal force and what happens after we die, and et cetera, et cetera. And he came unexpectedly behind me, and without any warning or asking my permission, he whacked several times on my spine. Well, I'd read enough books to think that maybe he was trying to open blockages. Maybe it was the Kundalini energy. I wasn't sure. I didn't question him. I trusted him implicitly. He'd been a spiritual teacher for over 35 years. Very radiant, seemed wonderful. Then the next day, I lay down to do a meditation. And as I did so, I felt these swirling energies around my lower 3 chakras. My feet started cramping. My body went ice cold. I was trembling. And then it must have been like electrical currents running through my body, because my feet were actually lifting off the bed. Mm-hmm. And the next day I blew my phone out completely, and it's never worked properly since. So when this kind of died down a little bit, I went on my computer and realized, yes, it was a partial Kundalini awakening that I experienced. And when I got to dinner that night, he looked sick to his stomach. And I thought, oh my gosh, he knows, because he's highly psychic. He must know this has happened. And we didn't discuss it. The next morning, he was leaving early and didn't talk to me. He left me a book, though, one of his books that he'd written, and he signed it, and it was about awakening. So I knew that he knew that I had an awakening, and we didn't discuss it further. When I got home, I read that book, and I read some of his further books. And in one of the books, at the very beginning, I realized why he'd asked these questions in the healing. He had a dream 20 years ago, a psychic dream, where he'd met this American named Jean. Well, my middle name is Jean. It's a very significant name for me, because I was named after my biological father. It was John. He was French-Canadian, American by birth, but French-Canadian descent. And the French version of John is John, so hence Jean. So very significant name, because I'd never met my biological father either. Mm-hmm. But I realized he was confirming that I was this woman that he dreamt about. Mm-hmm. And that he must believe that we were twin flames. Now, a bit of a disclaimer here. I don't know if we're twin flames. I think we must be as well. I'm the matrix twin. So I don't have any psychic powers. I don't feel like I do. Maybe I do, but I'm just not.
It takes a while to awaken it.
To them. Yeah.
It comes, but it's over some time. When the more you heal, the higher your vibration rises to connect, right? So... And then eventually people will start coming. The more you do your healing work, you'll start to draw on more people that understand this, and they'll kind of help you uncover that part of you. So
that's what I understand. And I did have almost a month of feeling this amazing love for everybody, walking around in this little cloud, my bubble of, oh, I love everybody and everything. And then that kind of dissipated, and I had to start doing the hard work by myself. Yeah. But yes, I realized that he thought we were twin flames. But again, he wouldn't admit this. And I don't know if we are, so we'll leave it there. Yeah. I got home, and it was this amazing catalyst in my life. It changed my life completely, this awakening, and meeting this gentleman. I had, as I told you earlier, been unhappy in my marriage for about 8 years. I went home in a place of love. I'd been angry and yelling at my husband for years, and I went home being so kind to him. But within a very short time, I also asked him for a divorce.
Yeah, that happened to me. Yeah.
And it's sad. He's a very nice person, but I wanted this divorce. And I could now do it in a place of not being angry at him. Mm-hmm. And a year on, we are still living together. And it's very amicable. Yeah. And things are actually working out much better. We won't get back together. Yeah. But our relationship is much better as a result of this. Mm-hmm. I've got a lot of things out of my life that I didn't want anymore. I lost 50 pounds. Mm-hmm. Part of that was the not sleeping and the Kundalini energy going through me, but it was a good thing for my health because I had a hiatal hernia, and that brought that down so it doesn't bother me and cause me health problems anymore that way. I've been very confused. I've gotten in touch with my shadow side. I didn't think I had a shadow side. I saw myself as somebody who was already quite considerate of other people and conscious in many respects, but now I am conscious of everything I think. Yeah. There isn't a thought that crosses my head now that I think, how's this going to affect somebody else? How's it going to affect me? What have you?
It's like your empathy is heightened, and you're so
much more
conscious.
So, yes.
Yeah.
Especially when you're aware that you have a shadow side. That's actually the most important part of becoming empathetic, is knowing, guess what? You're a human being with all your faults. That's how you're able to, but if you love that about yourself, you're going to be able to love somebody else the same way with all their bad things too, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that coming to accept that shadow side of us. We all have it, right? I
didn't like it though, and I am starting to try to come to terms with it, and that's part of the healing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's important because we become better and more loving then, because then otherwise we're only loving people for their good things, but then when their faults show up, we don't like it anymore, right? But a lot of that comes from us not liking ourselves either. So guess what? We're going to see it in the mirror.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll show up in friendships or lovers or whatever. What we don't want to see in ourselves, we will see in the other person. So, and I think that's the lesson, I think, right?
When we realize that we're working with the law of attraction, and if we have that shadow self that's just in the background, we don't realize, but we're constantly attracting that kind of stuff that doesn't really suit us. So this, we don't go for those things that we truly desire in life, but that's what we're supposed to be to create a better world. We're supposed to be going for what we truly desire in life. But we just, with that shadow self being stuck in the background, we keep going for the mediocre, the comfort, right? So
I would say yes. Completely. And the things I didn't like about myself, again, yes, I was projecting them out on other people.
They show up in another person. Isn't that strange?
You judge other people, you think, actually, it's because I've got that issue.
Right.
That's why I'm judging them, and I need to stop that. So there was there was mirror work at the
That's right. It's a lot of mirroring.
Mirror work and learn to love myself more.
Yeah.
Because I have beat myself up for years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so that's very much where I am now with my healing. Is how can I unconditionally love other people and stop judging other people if I'm constantly judging myself?
That's right.
Being nice to myself and show compassion, because I don't show compassion for myself either.
Mm-hmm.
So there has been times too, though, that I felt this is very selfish, looking out for myself first. But you think about it, if you don't look out for yourself, you can't then help someone else. Like on an airplane, those masks fall down, put it on yourself so that you can then help the person sitting next to you.
Yeah.
So I kind of look at it that way.
Yeah. Completely.
Yeah.
What have you done for your healing work? What are some things that you found have worked and maybe that haven't worked? And
I'm probably not healing as well as I should because I am pointing so many fingers at my twin flame.
Yeah, that's the first stages.
I'm at the point right now where I want answers from him, and I want, I'm saying all these negative things about him. And again, is that in me? I don't feel that those negative traits are in me, but obviously there's other negative traits in there, and I need to work on myself. So it's this constant me going back and forth with pointing a finger at him, but then realizing actually, hey, you need to work on yourself and kind of forget about him.
Yeah.
For the time being. So I haven't gone out to see anybody. I've met a couple other people locally that have twin flames, and we've talked about our experiences, but their experiences are all very different from mine. It's been therapeutic to know that there are other people out there like yourselves who have had these experiences. I'm not alone. I'm not crazy, because that has been a big issue. It's like, I've never considered myself mentally unstable, but this year, boy, the ups and downs, it's been a roller coaster ride since this awakening. And a lot of depression, dare I say.
Yeah. Dark night of the soul. I think it's very common It's a part of the awakening, I think, is going through that.
Mm.
Because I think a part of you dies. Like it's like you're grieving a loss. 'Cause part of your life is gone.
You're right, it is.
That's why you were seeing the fours, right?
So part of you, I'm going to speak from my experience too, like you're grieving a loss too. There's an old side of you or side of your life that's gone. A chapter is closed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was married 9 years as well. There's a whole new you, but with a new you comes an end to an old you. And I think that's where a lot of the sadness comes from, you're grieving that loss of your old self, maybe. Mm-hmm. Do you think?
100%.
Like, that's how I feel that process is.
Yeah,
and you're getting to know who you are. It takes time.
Yeah. So. And it's painful burning through all those fears.
Yeah.
When you're
getting in touch with that shadow side, and also what are people going to think of me if I come out of the closet, so to speak, that I've had an awakening, and will they think I'm crazy? Because I'm a writer by profession. Mm-hmm. I make up stories for a living, but I could not begin to make up the things that have happened to me over the course of the last year.
Yeah, we get it.
Not in my wildest imagination. So there's been that aspect as well. And not understanding it, really not understanding and wanting to be able to talk to people and the frustration. In my family, none of my family, they believe in God, but they don't really want to know about an awakening, and I can't push that on them.
Yeah.
Their life is their life. I've got my spiritual journey. They've got their own spiritual journey. But it's hard when you feel like, oh, I'm alone. But that's where this has been a blessing to connect with other people. And I know I'm not alone. It is happening to more and more people on the planet.
Yeah.
But where is this going? Yeah. That's the other thing that scares me. Where is this? Why?
What were you saying? Sorry?
We're raising our consciousness and we're all going to a place of love, I hope.
Yeah. Oh, completely. Yeah. That's what it's about. Just burning through those fears. And, I find like a lot of people, well, we were awakening for quite some time, but 2013, there was a huge shift for a lot of people, right? And that's when I think 2012, when the Mayan calendar ended, people were worried what's going to happen. It was just a new age coming in, right? So there's a lot of elevation and consciousness now, and it's so nice that with in the internet and stuff, you can connect with people so quickly and so easily, because otherwise you can feel so alone, right? And
if it wasn't for YouTube, I'll tell you, after 2012, I was YouTubing this stuff because I didn't understand why I was seeing fours like you. Yeah. In fact, I went into a spiritual store, and I come from a very strict Christian background where that kind of stuff is like demonic and occult and pagan, and you just don't go there. I walked right into the store, and I remember, because it's all about that there. And I said, all I see is these numbers. Like, I see the 11s, I see 4s, I see 3s. Does that mean anything? And they smile, and they hand me a book, right? So there was books on what numbers mean and their energy. They have an energy, right? So then I went online, I started Googling stuff on YouTube, and you know what? If it wasn't for YouTube, I'll tell you, this would have been a bit rougher. And so, in fact, that's why Tracy and I thought, we should do a channel. There's many channels right now out there, but why not add another one where people share their experience on their awakening experience, because it's very similar. It doesn't seem to matter where you're from. I feel like we all go through the same sort of... Yeah,
it's a bit of a different story.
Like, there's a catalyst, there's always this big shift in their life, and it's hard and difficult, but we're not alone.
I think this is so needed for that reason, because like you, I went to YouTube originally, and I could hear people saying why this was happening, but I wanted to hear their stories and compare them to mine and know that, I know that I wasn't alone.
Yeah. We're not alone.
100%. And I find with myself, I felt very alone. Mm-hmm. I had one friend that went through it at the same time as me, thank God. And another friend that understood a little bit about this. She was kind of at the same level as me. So thank God for those couple people, because everyone else in my world crumbled. Yeah. And it was like that safety net I felt I had was gone. I was so alone. I was heartbroken. I was in this state of what happened to me. And it's scary. It's scary until you start meeting other people and realizing what's happening. Because if you didn't come from a spiritual background and you don't know anything about this kind of stuff, indigenous teachings and all this stuff, you're lost, right, in the beginning. But people started to come in very quickly. Even going to Cuba, I met a man that's from there, and he took me to his energy reader, and I learned about the number 13, and it's the divine feminine energy, and that's what's becoming empowered now. So it was really exciting to have these people come into your life, right?
Well, that's what I wanted to mention too. Did you not find that someone showed up in your life when this was happening? Like, I feel like in my life during this time period, it was like all of a sudden I was shunned by a community, but the right people started showing up. So I had a male too, his name is Larry, who helped me spiritually, and Maria.
Yeah.
There was people all of a sudden that started showing up in my life that helped me along this journey, this rough time. There was always this one or two person that's very key to getting you through.
I think the universe does give us that.
I
talked about, feeling like I was alone.
Oh,
but there were two people. There was one woman I had met a few months before at a meditation circle, and after I had my awakening, shared it with her. She's like, yes, I know, because she'd had a complete Kundalini awakening 10 years earlier. And so I've been able to talk to her, and I have another friend in Italy who has a twin flame, and I think she's always been awake. She's very intuitive, very spiritual. So I've had a couple people that were right there when it happened that I have been able to talk to. So yes, I would agree. The universe brings things to you. I felt that the first month after the Kundalini awakening, I felt like everybody I talked to had a message for me.
Yes. I'm like, oh my goodness, are they speaking to me like through people? Through music? I'm like, oh my God, I heard it in the radio or in the song, the same message in a song. Right? Yeah. Or just you always see the same message written somewhere. It's once was in a what do you call it, the fortune cookie?
Yeah,
like I can't.
That was happening to me too.
What is going on? Like this is so when you become aligned, right? All of a sudden,
it was stuff so
shows up.
It was like, am I on the Truman Show?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I'm like, this is not happening.
Planting things.
Exactly.
Like really, what happened until this moment? Didn't you ever wonder what happened until this awakening? Were we all like sleepwalking? None of this magic happened before.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
like the numbers. I never saw
it. It's like shot notice. I was definitely sleeping.
Yes.
I know. I feel like, was I sleepwalking? How come it was like a moment in time where you saw all the signs? But it was like very...
It was instant, yeah.
But it took a catalyst. For me, it was my twin flame. Yeah. This person. It took that one... And then I ran into Maria. I met Maria, this medium. Yeah. She was the one that explained to me at that moment what was happening. This medium, who she went to as well.
And we didn't know each other.
We didn't even know each other. We only just met last year.
Did she connect the two of you then?
No. We found each other. No. This is 5 years later. And 5 years later. I don't even know.
I went back to Maria after we had met.
Oh my
God. And I don't remember what I said, but I brought up Nikki, and she goes, "How do you know Nikki?" And I'm like, "How you know how this works?" Like,
yeah.
What do you mean?
I used to do this woman's hair even. It was just crazy. Yeah.
So, for many years, I did have a belief that things are meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has just confirmed that completely.
Exactly.
You have some free will, but there are so many things in your life that are meant to happen.
It's true. Especially when you're asking, what is my purpose? Guess what? You're going to get an answer.
Yeah.
So when you ask yourself, hey, what's my purpose?
You'll receive it.
You're going to get the answer.
Yeah.
Because then you become more aligned. You're going to be aligned in the right... All of a sudden, you're going to meet people, and then you get into more alignment. Maybe you're going to write about your purpose. Maybe what you write about is going to affect people. Maybe what we videotape one day, one show, will impact somebody.
Yeah.
One person. Well, isn't that doing your job as a light worker? Even if it was one person? Yeah, that's amazing.
It's really amazing.
It's like a ripple effect, right?
Yeah.
And we don't always realize the impact we have, but I do think once we do it in a place of love, that we are.
It's amazing. It's magical. It really is.
Yeah. So, do you have anything you're kind of drawn to as far as energy work to help you kind of raise your vibration even more? Is there something that you've been thinking about lately?
I really don't know what direction to take.
Mm-hmm.
I've been working a lot with gratitude and remembering to say thank you as much as possible
Mm-hmm.
for things going on in my life. I had wanted for many years to be a light worker. I was always jealous of people that were psychic. I thought, wow, why didn't I get these abilities? I've always been interested in the esoteric. I don't have any of these abilities. And I still, as you say, as your frequencies, your vibration goes up, I understand that you do start to get these things.
It's in everybody.
It probably will show up in your writing, actually. You see, that's your gift.
Your channel.
You're probably going to write. I mean, you don't know yet, but that's coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your gifts always show up.
So time will tell, but I've always, wanted to help people, but I didn't know how, and I don't know. So I don't know where this is going. I still don't know what my purpose is, so to speak. But hopefully it's doing good for other people, which is always what I wanted to do. So
I felt like there was a movement with that, with a lot of spiritual light workers. There's, if you're not doing yoga and meditating every day, then you're not spiritual. Well, maybe that doesn't align with everyone. You know what I mean? But actually, we do yoga. But I fell in love with yoga. I felt like it just became the thing that helped me get through the hardest time of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought I would ever do yoga, and I kind of started doing it at the gym. And it got me through the worst time. It's meditative, but it's everything. I never thought I would ever like that. I never thought I'd be saying that, but that helped me actually spiritually, just for my what I was dealing with. But we love it.
I've reconnected to dancing myself. I tried the whole yoga thing, and I go like this now.
It's not for you.
It's not for everyone.
It's not for everybody, but dancing is beautiful.
And that's it. Just getting yourself active in whatever you're drawn to, and that's the great thing about this. You don't even have to really do a lot to find your purpose. You just have to do what you're drawn to.
Yeah.
And not fear. If there's any fear, push that aside and do what you're drawn to.
And judgment.
Yeah.
I feel like judgment is a damper, when we judge things.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah.
But yeah, dancing's great. What kind of dancing do you do?
Oh, this is where I've reconnected to things I love.
See?
I've started doing salsa dancing last autumn, doing a lot of Latin dancing and love it to bits. I'd never tried that before. It was always country line dancing, but it's lots of fun, and it just boosts my energy. It gives myself that boost a couple times a week and recharges the batteries.
Yeah, and that's energy work, right? Anything that makes you feel good, that cleanses that space and just uplifts you, that is energy work right there.
Healing the inner child, I guess, or even just being playful again in life, right? We almost lose our child completely when we grow up.
Oh, yeah, completely.
You almost forget what it's like to have fun, what does it mean to have fun? We're in this treadmill of life, and it's inhumane, really. But you get dancing again, or you find your own. Oh my goodness! You come back to life. Yeah, that's the whole point. And you're smiling again and feeling good again.
And it helps me live in now. I'm very much in the present when I'm dancing, and I find that something I need to focus on, but hard to do unless I'm doing something like my dancing.
We're out of our head. We're out of our head.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, we're always in our head.
Yeah. And one thing I learned about all this energy and the psychic and everything. Your thoughts are energetic vibrations.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Right?
We can talk about this in a minute.
So if you've got 80% of the people in low vibration, we keep in that negative cycle. That's what keeps being put out there, and it's just pulling everyone down. And then you got these empathic people that are feeling this, and it's just such a bad cycle to be in. And then you got the manipulators that are like trying to leech on to the empathic, and it's like just a bad cycle. So that's where, when we get these people that start to do their energy work and they start to cleanse that space to raise it, it's like showing other people how to do it, and then everyone, you start to feel it, So that's exciting.
Well, with energy, see, I said earlier that I thought I was never psychic, but I do feel like I've always felt when there's been people in lower vibrations around me. I've picked up on that on some level.
Yeah.
And you said that your thoughts go out there and they can be read by the universe, can't they, effectively? They can be picked up on by other people.
Yeah.
And this is where my life seems a bit crazy and my story might sound a bit woo-woo, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. Many twin flames are linked telepathically, from what I understand.
Yeah, we know that.
I don't have this connection to my twin flame. I can't pick up on his thoughts telepathically, but he has been doing this work, as I say, for over 35 years, had his awakening over 20 years ago. He's highly psychic, and he picks on every thought I have telepathically. Every thought. He's said things to me in my life there's no way he could have known unless he had heard the thoughts in my head. And it's made me realize, okay, I'm uncomfortable with him knowing every thought in my head, but it's made me realize that I do need to work on controlling my thoughts, because they are just as important as what I say energetically, putting that out there. But this man does a lot of energy work with Tai Chi and Qigong.
Wow.
He can literally put his energy in other people's bodies to heal them.
Yeah.
In my case, he puts energy in my body to move me.
Yeah.
So there will be times when I will actually have involuntary movements. He will react to a thought in my head and respond accordingly. He might give me a big jerk to say yes. He might give me a couple jerks to be laughing at whatever I'm thinking about. As I say, this is where it sounds like I'm making things up. It makes me sound completely crazy, but it's been an out of this world experience. But on the other hand, again, it makes me very conscious of every thought I have, because I know that he's also hearing it and responding accordingly. And if I do drift, he sometimes jerks me back to reality and to my thoughts. Maybe I shouldn't have shared this. It does make me sound like a loon, doesn't it?
No, we like woo-woo.
Let me tell you, that happened to me.
Happens a lot, I think.
Mine was beating me up.
Energetically,
I all day long. This was. I don't remember. I've written about it because there's been so much that's happened, but it's probably been about a year since that happened. That was like a year ago. Beating me up. Energetically, I kept feeling it all day. I'm like, what is going on? So I went to see Maria, the energy reader, and I wanted to see if she would say something about it. I didn't tell her anything. Right. And she goes, she's very mad at you right now. And I'm like, that's funny, because all day long I felt like someone was beating me up on the inside. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And I had never experienced anything like that before. And it was just, I had been experiencing little things here and there to understand that your thoughts have energetic vibrations to them that people pick up on. That things were making themselves apparent to me to help me understand. But that was a whole other level. So I completely get
I went
that.
through too.
Yeah.
Yes. I can feel when he's angry at me, this physical pain on my body.
Yeah.
Can completely pick up on that.
Yeah.
I remember texting in my sleep. I woke up in the morning. This is my twin flame. And I had texted at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I don't remember texting this person at 3 o'clock in the morning, but Maria told me, like, you're connected. You're going to do stuff even when you're unconscious, like sleeping.
Really? Wow.
Very strange. You went through that too with somebody as well. But I woke up thinking, when did I type this? Like, how is it that I had a conversation with this person while I was sleeping? But I just remember thinking people would think I'm nuts if they knew that I thought this, but no, Maria had confirmed. She says, you're not. When you're very connected to someone, even when you're sleeping, you're connected to them and you will communicate with them, even in your dream state. Yeah. You know, you'll do stuff even subconsciously, you know, on a different level. In fact, I think on the subconscious level, that's where everything happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More than
so.
the conscious, the now. Like, I feel like everything happens on a different plane, really.
Yes. we can't access from here yet. Yes.
Which is why they really encourage meditation, because we're going to the theta wave in the brain, right? The meditation takes your brain out of this into a different place where we can receive visions, messages, something.
Yeah.
Right? So we did that in Mediumship Circle. That's why you go there mentally. You have to take this brain and go to a different place. So, I think that's where all our messages come from.
And I love the fact that this has helped me go from that sleepwalking mode to I have control over my thoughts and the reality I want to create. You know, it gives you that empowerment, whereas before you were just letting life, you know, pass
we were
you
controlled.
By.
That's the problem. We were under a spell. Didn't you feel like you were under some kind of spell?
Yes.
I was under a spell for the last 40 years of my life.
Exactly.
And now I've got control of some of that magic.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And it's beautiful. It's so amazing. Yeah. Yeah, so it's hard.
Miracles really do happen once you awaken. I have appreciated that there are miracles everywhere in life that I couldn't see before.
Same.
That I'm completely opening my eyes to now.
Yeah, and even having my ancestors that are passed on, they've helped guide me through dreams. We do like a mediumship circle, so we know other mediums that have connected and helped us on our journey, and even the mediums that we don't know that have brought messages through, and then we were receiving those messages too. It makes you trust what you get,
because it's you're being validated or confirmation, right?
You know, whereas before I would have been like,
no, it's just you dismiss
whatever.
It.
You know, you dismiss it.
Yeah, you dismiss it. Like, no, come on.
But now, you realize, no, we all have that ability, and the more we heal, the more we raise our vibration to connect with those higher energies and stuff to help us on our journey, and you know.
It proves this concept effectively that we are all one and that we are all interconnected. Otherwise, why would these things happen? It's a miracle that we're all finding our twin flames, isn't it? I mean, my twin flame was born in Asia. I was born in America, 13 years apart, and we both ended up in Britain. But we met at a screenwriting retreat in Spain.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
it's
not coincidence. I love the connections because it's showing love has no boundaries. You know, what is the word? It's not superficial. Like,
no, it's definitely on a connection level.
It's not
spiritual.
About what someone looks like. It's none of those things that society has put up there as being, this is what it should be. You should have, you know, a beautiful home, the picket fence, and
oftentimes the twin flame connection is not idealistic. Mine was a criminal, and I was a missionary in my other life. So I was. Talk about how the heck did the two of you even meet? I had the police ask me one time, how do you know this person? So it's like two worlds colliding. But when I met Maria, first of all, she was the one who explained it to me. Like, you were together in a past life many times. Then I go and get Reiki done by somebody in the store I went to. She confirmed that. She doesn't know Maria. She actually sees him and says, while she's scanning me, there's a gentleman that has been in your past life, is in your life now, will be in your future life, because that connection is there it's for healing. It's to heal us right now, right? Then I saw a random shaman at our health festival in Toronto, and he actually picked me out in a crowd, this shaman. He was amazing, actually. And he wrote his name down. He wrote his name like this, and he showed me his name. I was like he did a qigong on me, this shaman. And he removed something. My stomach actually got really hot. It scared me. And he pulled something out. And he said, but this person he was in your life in the past and in your future. So 3 different people that don't know each other are confirming that this twin flame is in your life, because they show up in your life to heal you. It's not going to be an idealistic relationship. In fact, you know, like, look at yours, right? Like, I mean, they come from weird backgrounds.
It's completely triggering. It's completely painful. In our case, well, I think most twin flames, there's a lot of similarities, but there's also a lot of polarities.
Yes. like completely
We're day and night.
polarized. Like,
complement each other, but it works at just triggering each other, doesn't it? Which helps with the healing, but it's while you're going through it, it's very painful.
Oh, I remember questioning Maria about that. Like, are you crazy? This guy's got a serious, like, this is a serious person I'm dealing with. She goes, no, you need him in your life. And it was an unusual relationship. But when we were together, there was this crazy, amazing healing that had made no sense. Trust me, I was someone that was very linear in my thinking. Everything was about making common sense decisions all the time. But this made zero sense. I was married. I had a little girl. Like, trust me, I was... Anybody who knows me of my past would be like, what happened to you? Did you lose your mind? But no, he just happened in my life. I don't know, but it was a healing. There was something very healing about that relationship. You know? Kind of like your chop in the back.
Yeah.
This guy had his own little chops in the back. He was really something else, but... And yours was unusual, too.
Yeah, completely.
Like you weren't expecting what you were expecting, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
So
never like the movies or whatever.
It's interesting.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
If the relationships don't progress, I mean, we're supposed to come to some sort of union, aren't we? And harmony.
Eventually.
But it didn't happen in this lifetime.
Not in this lifetime.
And it may have just been the catalyst you needed in this lifetime to start the healing. And you've got to look at it as that and not have any further expectations from this relationship.
Yeah.
And that little piece, for me, I got to experience a little piece of heaven with that connection. It was like something out of this world, and that's what I realized. I need to make that in my own life. I shouldn't get that from someone else. That should come from within. That feeling is where I'm going through all this healing, this facing all my shadows. That feeling I had with that particular connection, I'm learning how to do it for myself. Mm-hmm. And that's what's going to create that good world. The people that can, as within, so without, right? If you can create that little piece of heaven within you, it's going to project outwardly. And that's where this whole connection creates that better world, you know, and helps in the healing. So...
They are a puzzle piece, though. They really are a puzzle piece in our life. You're going to see your twin flame in your next life.
I know. And this theory is that if we had grown up as them, we would be them.
Yeah, correct.
And it's just part of ourselves, really. We've got to accept they are part of ourselves. We're the same soul in two bodies. Again, I find that really hard to fathom because we're so many polarities.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, when I met mine, I felt like I was like, first of all, it was a very unusual situation. I just remember he felt like I've known him all my life. Like, like he wasn't a stranger. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I had that feeling, I
just thought, oh my God, he's not a stranger. I was married for 9 years and he's still a stranger. I had a child with this. He's still, like, I look at him like, how did I have a child with this person? Imagine zero connection with my, spouse. But this gentleman out of nowhere, I felt like I've known him for a long time. I remember looking into his eyes like I've known him all my life. Yeah. And I think that's the whole feeling. Like, that was home.
Yeah. It
was like going home. I think so.
Yeah.
That was the only way to explain it. Mm-hmm. Never felt home before.
Again, because I'm struggling with not liking many characteristics about my twin.
And you go through that.
I think that's how,
trust me, mine has a nasty laundry list.
Like, anyways. Nice, and I knew him already.
Yeah. I don't know.
These people come out and say, oh, I'd love to meet my twin. Please help me find my twin. And I'm thinking, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
And that's where I think, thank God, everything is on an energetic level.
It's true.
And when they say you only get what you can
cope with,
thank God it's on an energetic level because you have to be ready for it.
Yeah.
But did you, honestly, I was going to ask you and you, at the time, did you feel like, oh my God, I'm lost in my life? You wanted a change, but you didn't know what it was, and that's when it happened? Precisely. You wanted to know your purpose, and then all of a sudden, cause I was in a marriage, I was dying. I thought I was going to die. I ran into this Maria character, and she says, you're so unhappy in your life, even though your outside life looks perfect. Like, I had this perfect life. Yeah. Perfect house, perfect, everything looked good on the outside. It was an illusion. It was a lie. But she saw it right away, and she says, you're actually quite sad. I used to have suicidal thoughts. But the only thing that kept me going was that I had a 3-year-old. Yeah. That's a bad place to be. And that's when everything happened. It was like I was crying inside. I didn't know how to get out. But I think I was ready for that to happen, and it did happen. Mm-hmm. So it happens at the right time, you know? When you're questioning, like, what am I here for?
Completely. When I had the near-death experience, I thought, you know, if it wasn't for my 2 young daughters, what was the point of me staying on this planet? Because I've not really contributed to anyone else. I've not done anything amazing. Why didn't God just get rid of me? And it must be to help my daughters. But there was, it happened when it needed to, because I was questioning my existence and my purpose and why I was here. And I had been unhappy like you in my marriage for 8 years and wanting to get out of it, but not knowing how. Yeah. So, completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Yeah.
I feel like.
It was the same for me. And the only difference is, well, I guess not difference, because we all had a hard time getting out of it. But I remember saying to myself, I would never leave my ex. I'm like, I would never leave him. Like, I just felt if I did, it would be such a heartless thing to do, just because of past experiences, the way I was raised, and my mom had a lot of tumultuous relationships and men that were difficult and some liars, some that didn't want to work, all these different things. And I'm like, I found this great guy, hardworking, everything I had envisioned. It's just we didn't have that strong soul
on
connection.
A soul level. Yeah.
And I was like, that's all right, I've been through all this stuff. I've got someone that's stable, and that's all that matters. And then you meet this connection, you're like, no, this is not what love should feel like. It should be, you should connect at your heart. And so
I remember feeling that too. Like, I was like, I'm married, I have a child, you can't leave. And then I met this person, and it awakened something in me that never existed. I'm like, I have been dead until now. It was bizarre. I'm not kidding. I just thought, have I been dead until now? Yeah. Like, it awakened. Awakened everything.
The problem is you can't keep your old life anymore.
I was like, I don't know what to do. I was so conflicted, but it felt right, even though it was crazy and just
like nothing you would ever do.
Because I wanted to always keep doing the right thing.
Yeah,
stay in this marriage, keep everything together, keep everybody happy, grow this, raise this child a certain way. I just felt like, no, it's over. Like, it's no longer going to go down this script. Like, I felt like I'm trying to follow this script, and it's not working. It's not working.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and I was similar. Mm-hmm. And I was, like, fighting. I couldn't believe that this person shows up. And definitely a catalyst, because I was afraid. I knew it was time. Like, I'm jumping off a cliff, and there's no turning back. It's over. So, but it happens when it happens.
How do you feel it's changed your life, like, for the better? Even though you're dealing with all these, going through all this hurt and emotional, struggles and stuff, do you think it's had a positive impact?
I do. Like you, I felt I should stay in my marriage. I thought when I got married, I was marrying for life. Yeah. I married a good man. Mm-hmm. He always treated me well. I didn't feel personality-wise that we were very similar. And it had been bad for a long time, but not necessarily because he was doing anything to hurt me at all. Mm. He loved me very much, and so there was a lot of guilt, actually, when I separated from him. I went through guilt, too. I had told him for many years I wanted a divorce. We talked about it for many years, but he just thought it would never happen, and he loved me very much. But I did not feel connected to him. Mm-hmm. I felt he was a soulmate in some respect, in that he was meant to be in my life, and he was trying to teach me so many lessons, so many spiritual lessons that I was just not picking up on. And it's now that I've had the awakening, I could see, well, now I've got to work on those spiritual lessons with him. And maybe that's why I'm still living with him.
Yeah.
Okay, on the surface, it's financial reasons for both of us. Yeah. But underneath it is allowing us both to heal this relationship and be so much kinder to each other and move forward in a place of love for each other, even though we're not going to be together as a couple.
Yeah.
And so I think the way this has changed me is to heal many of my relationships in my life. Also, as a mother, I've never felt like I was a great mother. I love my children dearly, but I never thought I was going to have children. I had children because my ex wanted to have children. But they are everything in my life. But I felt like I was a rubbish mom. You know, I was horrible with the discipline and this and that. And I think I approach motherhood much differently now, and I spend more time with the kids than I did before. And I'm very conscious of how my actions affect them and what I'm saying in front of them. So I think in many ways, it's healed my relationships already.
Mm-hmm. How old are they?
They're 8 and 12.
Aw. That's ours. Yeah. Mine's 10 and yours is
13.
13. It's funny, they're in that same group.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to see how it heals all these relationships around us, right? As we heal ourselves, we start to heal the other relationships too.
Mm-hmm. Well, my daughter always reminds me, listen, I came into your life, Mom. That's why you met Dad. Because I was coming. She always says that. Yeah. It's like she already knew. Like, she picked us. She's so cute.
But don't you think that's true, though? They did pick us.
The way she talks, like she's on the money on that one.
Yeah.
I feel that way with my eldest. My eldest is quite psychic, and she says a lot of similar things like that. And I think, well, is she already awake, actually?
Yeah, oh, yeah. You know what? Our children are.
The kids that are coming in now are a lot, their conscience is heightened already. So
because the veil's lifting. So they say that these kids that are coming in, right? They're like these crystal kids. They're very highly sensitive. Mine's crazy intuitive. I don't know. She scares me sometimes.
A lot of kids have anxiety too, and that's the heightened awareness, sensitivity, right? So our energy, the energy out there, we're still working on getting it in good standing, right? So these kids that are coming in that are heightened, they're picking up on that, imbalanced energy. It's still not, stable and everything. So.
Yeah, I see that with my oldest. She's very intuitive and she's very empathic, and she sees things that I can't see. I mean, she's seen my twin flame's energy, the outline of him in our house on 3 occasions.
Yeah.
3 occasions. Freaked her out completely, but when I can't pick up on any of this.
Too. Yeah. Like, Sophia always sees orbs, or she'll see a shadow, or she'll see, like, I'm like, this kid's... I never even spoke to my mom like that ever, right? But we weren't allowed. But like, were we that awakened when we were kids? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it was shut down in us. But
but isn't it great though that she can talk to you openly about this stuff?
Yeah, and I'm not scaring her out of it.
And her with her journey. Yeah.
Exactly. When you met this twin flame connection, did you feel like were you magnetically drawn to them? What was your initial feeling with them?
I was fascinated by him, and I wanted to know him. He had the keys to the universe. He had the knowledge that I wanted. There's no doubt in my mind that he had a connection to source, that he held the light, and he could show me how to do these things. And he was funny. Was I attracted to him? I think slightly attracted to him, but I was married and he was married and I wasn't like looking for anything that way. But I did feel drawn to him and a familiarity, and that I could relate to him, and I wanted to know him better. And then it upset me so much because I don't know what I did to anger him. I think that because he was so much higher energetically, that he could feel our energy frequencies. He couldn't understand it yet then himself, I don't think.
Well, but he knew something for him too.
Yeah. So it triggered something in him that he didn't understand, and it was upsetting him. And I think that's why he had gotten angry. He won't talk about these things. That was my feeling on it. But yeah.
Yeah, and it just goes to show, like, even 20 years in the field of energy work, and he was still Well, is it 20 years or
35 years? Well, he started when he was 17 doing Tai Chi, but like 35 years as a spiritual teacher and 20 years since he had his awakening, his Kundalini awakening. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how powerful this twin flame connection is. Like, it's even if you thought you dealt with everything, it will get. It's like a fast track chakra cleanse. So anything and everything is going to come out, and that's a really nice thing. Like, even though you have to deal with it all, it's a great experience to know that it's going to lift you to the highest life path, right? Yeah. Through work. Yeah. It's not an instant thing, but it takes work, and at least it's that purge that, you know, gets you to the places that you want to be.
Well, that's it. I've been thinking, well, he did all this work 20 years ago, surely. Why does he need me?
Being. He's still a human being.
Yeah.
But he's still, sometimes anger is fear. And maybe it triggered something deep in him that, I can't believe this. You know, I had this dream 20 years ago. He's still a human being. And he's probably thinking, wow. Like, the impact it's had on him too, right? He's a human being.
Yeah, completely. I don't want to say negative things about him.
Yeah.
But despite being a spiritual teacher, he's very dishonest and very angry. And he looks to be unhappy in his marriage as well.
There you go. So, I was going to go there, but better you go there. But he's probably fearful of the fact that, oh my goodness, you triggered a feeling in him that he doesn't have with his spouse. That's going to create him being unsettled. Mm-hmm. And here he is, this spiritual teacher, right? And all of a sudden he's unsettled.
Up to him. Yeah.
Right. So you unsettled him. There obviously something in him was moved and shifted. He experienced a shift. And sometimes with that comes these feelings that show up that he wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
Right? Mm. And that's how he's handling it, right? That's his reaction.
Getting angry.
That shift is happening inside him. Like, what am I going to do now? Like, so,
and that's the first stages of dealing with an awakening. You go through those lower vibrations, you burn through them, right?
Well, it's a shift that happens, and things have to kind of move along, and he's probably doing his calculations right now, or whatever he's trying to do, trying to sort himself out, his feelings, right? So, you never know. Shifts don't end. I think right until we die, they don't end. We're going to be full of shifts, right? I don't think you ever reach a stage in your life. I think you just keep moving and keep evolving, right?
The good thing is the twin flame, it does give you that fast track chakra cleanse if you choose to do the work. And from there it gets easier.
Yeah. Right? I would love to hear more about your energy worker later.
Pardon?
I would love to hear more about your energy worker later, actually, because I'm trying to find people to help me with this myself. Okay. And get my chakras some more.
And there's so much out there, right? And even if you just, go into a meditation and ask what it is that would help you do your healing work, right? Mm-hmm. For me, I do cards. Like, cards were my number one go-to because I need affirmations through words. Yoga work, dance. I do dance too. And then finding my passion, which I really love mediumship. That's something I've really put a good focus on. So, and then I do work with gemstones, but cards.
So when you say mediumship, you're doing intuitive readings for other people then, or connecting with spirits?
Connecting with spirits.
Spirit medium,
Yeah. So that's what I'll do. I'll do like a channeled message, and then I'll do the cards. And then people can kind of see that the message you get from spirit, and then how well it is in accordance with the cards. So
the cards, really, I do think, for a while I thought, am I reading too much into the cards? Am I putting more meaning into them? Is it a self-fulfilling prophecy? No. But after this twin flame connection, the first 3 cards I got were trust, surrender, and allow love.
Yeah.
And that said it all to me. I was like, stop fighting this, just surrender to this and allow love, because that's what you should be doing for everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, keep that up. And I wish you all the best on your journey. It was so great to connect with you. Thank you so much, Rebecca.
Thank you both. It was lovely to connect with you as well.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this opportunity to share my story and to hear. I want to hear more of your stories, actually. But again, know that I'm not alone on this journey.
Yeah.